Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Pampanga Representative Don Gonzales Jr. wants to allow consecutive terms for the president and vice president. Gonzales filed a resolution allowing the two highest officials in the land to rule for 5 years each, but with the option of re-election for one more term. Currently, both the president and the vice president serve a fixed 6-year term. Gonzales explained that the current term limit prevents officials from establishing long-term programs and policies.
Kung mayroon siyang isang termino pa na pwedeng mag-elect ang presidente, he can continue yung mga projects, program sa ating bansa. Yung 10 taon na yun, palagay ko, magagawa niya lahat yung kailangan gawin sa ating bansa.
Meanwhile, one economist believes that the Marcos administration should prioritize the country's self-sufficiency in rice, corn, and sugar. In today's Laging Handa briefing, economist Ramon Orosa said that President Bongbong Marcos made the right call with his decision to head the Agriculture Department. Marcos Jr. took on the DA after noting the country's looming food crisis, with oil and commodity prices still on the rise.
Para tayo niluluto sa sariling mantika, yun ang problema. So what I would saying is greater protection of our economic zone and greater freedom for our fishermen to grow and develop.
One News Now will be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Marcos Jr.'s inaugural speech earned praises from several political pundits, with some describing it as nostalgic and well-written. Marian Enriquez with the report.
Hundreds of local and foreign dignitaries attended President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s oath-taking, including Australian Governor-General David Hurley, U.S. Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff, Chinese Vice President Wang Qishan, and Vietnamese Vice President Vo Tin An Chuan. After the inauguration, the traditional Von d'honneur was held at the old session hall of the National Museum. This serves as the official toast.
May God bless you, Mr. President. Mabuhay. 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 Mabuhay.
And to toast to the strengthening of our continuing relationships between the Philippines and your country.
But apart from the toasts, the real focus of the day was on Marcos Jr.'s first words as president. According to columnist and policy advisor Professor Richard Hidarian, there were no surprises in his speech, as it centered mainly on public issues like food security.
He sticks within a certain decorum, within a certain script, at the same time, may pagka-nostalgist din siya, no? The way he talks, katulad ng tatay na, di ba?
For Professor Antonio Contreras, his speech was his response to critics after skipping election debates.
Parang ginastify niya rin yung kung bakit hindi siya umaattend ng mga debate. Di ba? Kasi hindi siya nagsalita masyado, nakikinig siya.
Attorney Edwin Lacerda, former spokesperson of President Noynoy Aquino, meanwhile commended Marcos Jr.'s speech, but noted he has set the bar high.
Maganda yung pagkalatag ng speech siya, well-written. It touched on almost all the topics that he intended to do in his 6 years. Medyo high bar, mataas ang standard that he imposed on himself, no? Ang unang concern niya, economic recovery. Sinabi niya na magaganda ang ekonomiya natin. Ang laking problema natin ngayon sa economy, primarily because we're coming from a pandemic, there's an expectation of a global recession. May away sa Ukraine, which he mentioned, by the way. And so maraming bagay sa economy na maapektuhan.
But what's noticeable for him is how PBBM made no mention of the fight against corruption.
I think in each inaugural speech, hindi nawawala ang paglaban sa corruption. Here, it was very, very clear na parang, absent si corruption sa pag-uusap.
It's all eyes on how Marcos Jr. and his administration will be able to address all these issues in the next 6 years. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Former Hong Kong security chief John Lee is the Special Administrative Region's new leader. Chinese President Xi Jinping made his first trip to Hong Kong in 5 years to personally administer Lee's oath. In his speech, Lee said that Hong Kong needs to be more competitive in finance, trade, and shipping. Lee was one of 11 people sanctioned by the United States for supposedly undermining freedoms when the Hong Kong government implemented China's national security law. Lee replaces Carrie Lam, who had been Hong Kong's chief executive since 2017. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Health experts are exploring the possibility of administering COVID-19 vaccines on young children aged 6 months and up. Currently, only minors aged 5 to 17 are eligible for COVID-19 shots in the Philippines. And Marcos Jr. has named former United Nations Ambassador Enrique Manalo as Foreign Affairs Secretary. Manalo had briefly served as acting DFA chief after the Commission on Appointments rejected the ad interim appointment of the late Perfecto Yasay Jr. And in the weather, Domeng has intensified into a tropical storm while moving north over extreme northern Luzon. Domeng is expected to develop into a severe tropical storm as it exits the Philippine area of responsibility tomorrow. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.